Greetings and welcome to another Diablo 4 video. Today I want to show you a leveling build with the Sorceress, which I've come to enjoy very much. I would say it's a Blizzard build with together with Frozen Orb. I actually wanted to make Frozen Orb my main skill, but then I figured Blizzard is a bit stronger actually. Like, it's way stronger in some scenarios, and Frozen Orb is more like the supplemental skill to a lot of Blizzards. But we will see that in a moment. Let's dive into the skill tree. The core of the skill tree, as I just said, is like Frozen Orb and Blizzard. So we are focusing a lot, or maybe only, you could say, on Frost skills. Started at the top, we have Frostbolt. I maxed that out also because we are fairly often using this, like during blizzards or in between blizzards. So that's a very good choice right here. Together with enhanced Frostbolt to have a chance to explode on chilled and have a 100% chance against frozen to explode, as well as glinting Frostbolt because we have some resource management to do. I mean, we are in the leveling process. We don't have like all the big items yet or big legendary aspects that we need to maintain 100% resource uptime, if that even is possible. But this helps a lot with resource management. And then going into core skill, we have Frozen Orb together with enhanced Frozen Orb, and then I choose greater Frozen Orb to have another source of making the enemies vulnerable. So this has a 25 chance per Frozen Orb's explosion. You could also go with destructive, but I find this gives me more vulnerability on enemies, which helps us also with other things, which you will see in a second. I also have devastation, which I think probably isn't correct right now, but for all intents and purposes, it is okay for us, since Frozen Orb does a little bit more damage, or like maybe not a little bit, but a lot, if we are casting it above 50 mana, and this makes it so we are more often above 50 mana. That's at least my thought process. Maybe I'm totally off here. Let me know in the comments what you think about devastation. But here we go. You can put these points anywhere else where you want to. Other than that, in defensive skills, we have Ice Armor together with Enhanced Ice Armor for more mana, and Shimmering, which gives us a chance to freeze the enemies when they hit us. Mystical would also be okay, but sometimes the enemies are not always vulnerable, so I opted for Shimmering. And then Frost Nova together with Enhanced and Mystical, which gives us a 100% chance to apply vulnerable to enemies, which is pretty nice. And also it's like, if they come too close, then use Frost Nova. Going over Conjuration, we don't have anything. I tried Ace Blades for a bit because they have a huge lucky hit chance and it's actually not bad. So if you want to use them, maybe instead of something else, when we go deeper here for the ultimate skill, maybe you want Ice Blades instead of the ultimate, which is totally okay. Probably more damage overall. But I kind of didn't like also when I casted Ice Blades, it like took me a second to cast them. I was like standing there. I don't know why this animation happens. Like, it should be way faster. And then Precision Magic, which is pretty great, I feel like, because you get 15% flat lucky hit chance, which helps us later on with some lucky hit abilities. Going into the meat of it all, Blizzard, of course, 5 points here. It has a huge lucky hit chance also, I feel like, because it's constantly doing damage if they monsters stand in it, together with Enhanced Blizzard and Wizards Blizzard, which helps with resource management if we're using like Frozen Orb. Mage Blizzards could also be considered, but I feel like when we're using Blizzard and Frozen Orb in combination, Blizzard is better. And here 1 point in Icy Whale and 3 into Snap Freeze, which gives me the chance to instantly freeze my enemies on frost skills with a lucky hit and 9% chance after that. So not a huge chance, but I'll take that chance because it is nice. I like freezing enemies. Later on, if you have like longer durations, maybe an ice armor, more cooldown reduction, you can do more on your barrier here, and maybe even cold front if you want to. Then we go into the ultimate skills, where I opted for deep freeze, just like for an oh shit button, so that if anything like happens or we are overwhelmed, or I just want to do damage to the whole screen, And this is pretty nice, and it's yeah, it's also fun. Haven't opted into any one of these yet. They could be good, but for now I don't really need that. Just see for yourself if you want to opt into the enhancements here. I got Permafrost, which I just put another point in, so more damage to elites is always nice. And Hoarfrost, which is just more damage to chilled and frozen. Our enemies are always chilled and often frozen. And Frigid Breeze, which gives me a chance to generate mana against vulnerable enemies. And then later we can also get Icy Touch if we want to. Which leads me to the key passive, which is Avalanche. My Frost skills have up to a 10% chance to make my next cast of Ice Shards, Frozen Orb, or Blizzard consume no mana and deal 40% multiplicative increased damage. Chances double against vulnerable enemies. So that's pretty cool because you get a free cast, and then also it does more damage. That's why we stack Lucky Hit and we can. There's also Shatter, which seems okay. I haven't tested a lot of it, but this could also be great because enemies explode after freeze expires, and then you deal 25% of the damage you dealt to them while they were frozen. So it's not bad at all. That's basically the build. In terms of gear, this looks all like legendaries, which they kind of are. I found some of them, but others are only imprinted. Like, for example, this ring, I just imprinted the casting a basic skill, like the ring of efficiency. Reduces mana cost for the next core skill, which helps us with mana management again, and also Ring of the Umbral, which restores one of my primary resource when you crowd control an enemy. So this could be 4 even. And crowd control is, for example, when I chill an enemy or freeze them. So this is pretty great, but the roll is only 1 because I got it from, my Codex of Power. So you can go and get these yourself. It's in resource. And you can get this one by completing Champion's Demise, and the other one that I have in the other ring, Domhain Tunnels in Scotland. So you go get them because these will help you out, and just slap them on your current rings. Other than that, we have some stuff that is not really that relevant. I mean, this has the chance to reset some cooldowns. Of course, it's good, but like it's not mandatory for this build, but it's good to have. And also some things like when I have a barrier active, I can ignore this. I just found these things during leveling, but they are not make or break on this build. This one I also imprinted. It's the shared misery aspect, which gives me lucky hit chance or chance on lucky hit. That when I hit a crowd control enemy, there's a chance to spread that crowd control effect. I'm not sure if I even need that because I'm always like freezing and chilling and anything anyways, but there we go. This is something that restores max life and have deep freeze. Again, not mandatory. This I just found also against like becoming unstoppable from crowd control and injured. This one is actually something that is very helpful and will up your damage significantly. When you cast Blizzard, it will periodically spawn exploding ice spikes that deal a certain amount of damage, and the ice spikes deal increased damage to frozen enemies. So this is pretty cool. This is unfortunately not in the codex, so I just found this, so this was pretty lucky. The build also works without this, but this is just more damage then. And then I have more damage to immobilize stunned or frozen enemies here, and I think this can also be found in the codex. Lastly, I get a barrier when I damage elite enemies. I found this amulet, so it's pretty neat. Other than that, stats look out for. You want to go with a wand because the wand has inherent lucky hit chance, as you can see here, 5.2% because we upgraded also. And then look for cooldown reduction, like here, for example. And then I think here on the gloves, you can have another lucky hit chance, and on rings as well, like here. So right now, my lucky hit chance is as follows, 27% bonus. So it might not be the highest, but at least look out for lucky hit chance plus, and of course plus to your core skill like Frozen Orb or Blizzard. All right, almost 10 minutes talking about the build. Let's go into the game. I think there's one more thing, yeah. It's the enchantments. So I opted for Frozen Orb enchantment to have a chance whenever I cast a non-basic skill, so everything else than Frostbolt, to have a 20% chance to launch a Frozen Orb. which doesn't seem like much, but it's good and great because I also then have another chance to apply vulnerable again. And since I also stacked ranks on Frozen Orb, this does a decent amount of damage. And then I opted for Frostball enchantment because it applies more chill, which means the enemies get frozen more easily and we have more damage against chill than frozen enemies. So I like this. Some may go with ice shards, which automatically conjure and fly towards frozen enemies. Or you can also use, where is it, Blizzard. So you have every 15 seconds a blizzard over you and like a bit of damage around you. So there's some options. I like to go with this. It gives me the most joy. And let's go into a dungeon and show some gameplay. So what I did first was use a lot of Frozen Orb, but then I realized that Blizzard is doing a lot of damage, or more damage. And we are on world tier 1 because A, we are killing faster, and B, world tier 2 can be a slog when the monsters are scaling to your level, but you're not finding like good enough items to compensate for that. So here you see we just got them vulnerable because of Frozen Orb proc. I'm just starting slow here. So this would be like Frozen Orb, and Frozen Orb has like a little bit of a quirk to it, because if I shoot it, it will explode after some meters. And actually the traveling does damage and the explosion again does damage. So since the explosion is further away, this means if I'm standing here, then I want the enemy to stand here and not too close to me. So it is actually a distant enemy if you play it like that. You want to go for stats that give you plus damage to distant enemies if you can keep the enemy at that distance. If not, I think Frozen Orb is not great, and Blizzard does a way better job, especially if you stack the Blizzard. It does a lot of damage. And then you can occasionally throw in Frozen Orbs like this. You can also use the Frost Barrier to get a little bit of mana regen. And the enemies don't even come close if I play it right. I want to pick this up. Okay. So moving on. You still want to throw in Frozen Orbs though, because you have the chance to make the enemies vulnerable, which like right now isn't like super important, but of course it significantly, it's still significant damage that you add to your output. What's that? And as you can see, like in between, I'm always like shooting my basic skill. There is a legendary aspect that you can get from the Codex of Power that says when you use your basic skill, you will add plus damage to your core skill. I want a group of monsters here. I mean, solo monsters are never a great show for like some build like this. I like to spam Blizzard. As you can see, they are melting away, and it's pretty safe. There might be builds out there, of course, that do more damage, but in terms also of a mix of safety and for me also enjoyment. And sometimes you see we are throwing Frozen Orbs because of the enchantment effect of Frozen Orb, not actually casting the Frozen Orb. And just I'm spamming Blizzard, and since I have so much chill, they get frozen pretty fast and pretty often. This was a lucky hit, which got them instantly frozen and not really in danger here. Of course, single target enemies are a bit of a slog. We want like bigger groups. And I can also Frost Nova them to make them vulnerable at my choosing. But yeah, that's been pretty much the build. I'm enjoying it very much so far, especially since I transitioned into using Blizzard more. First, I just used Blizzard to have one Blizzard up, to have less mana cost on my core skill. But then I realized Blizzard does a lot of damage if you stack it up. and the enemies are just melting away while they are frozen. And it's all very, very chill, so to say. This is interesting, but in the static object, you can see my mana is like going crazy. It refills so fast. I'm thinking the chill effect or something on the static object is repeatedly applied. So that's why we get like 1 mana every second. That's my thinking, at least. I haven't tried it without the aspect on my ring, the umbral aspect. Do I even have to do? But I think mana management is pretty alright, especially if you weave in some core skill, some basic skill, which feels fluid. Like, it doesn't feel bad, it feels good, and that's what it's all about. And we can also use our ultimate, of course, if you feel like there's too much going on. But yeah, that's about it. Bosses are pretty much the same. You spam Blizzard on them, spam your core skill, use your barrier, and this build, of course, shines more against multiple enemies than singular. So bosses are like not the same, like, but you can chill them or you can stagger them pretty fast because of the chill effect. And then when they are staggered, you put a lot of blizzards on top of them and they will get a lot of damage. Yeah, this was the Blizzard build, leveling build. I hope you liked it. I will see when I hit 50 to refine it more and then update you on the results. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one. Good luck, have fun, and goodbye.